right, welcome to the Hitmakers podcast. I am Ben Johnson. This is my co-host,
Whitney Phillips.
And today we are so excited to have Ferras with us. First of all, I'm going to say, who is Ferras? Well, let me tell you. Ferras is a one-of-a-kind songwriter and an artist whose music blends big pop hooks with raw, emotional storytelling. Originally from Jordan, his perspective has always been a little different, and that's exactly what makes his work stand out. He's written for icons in the industry, including Katy Perry, Adam Lambert, the Jonas Brothers, and Dua Lipa, bringing a mix of drama, heart, and edge to everything he touches. I can't wait to dive into Ferras' journey from his early days chasing a dream to becoming a trusted voice behind some of pop's biggest voices. Thanks so much for being here, Ferras.
Thank you guys for having me.
This is so exciting. I did start this podcast with saying, who is Ferras?
Yeah.
And
He really wants to know.
Of course, they clipped that in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I'm now getting to know you a little bit from our 2 days on the show in Nashville, but I'm really excited to dig into your backstory. And I didn't even know, you're from Jordan. Can you give us, a quick recap of your life?
Yeah. I mean, I was born in Jordan, in Amman, Jordan. And my father is from there. My mom is American. And we moved back to the United States, to Illinois when I was 5. Very southern Illinois. There was literally 3,000 people in my town. And basically just started discovering my musical abilities then. When I was a kid, my mom and I went to a restaurant and somebody was playing Feras on the piano. And I had never taken any piano lessons or anything. And then went back to our house. My grandparents had a piano. And then from the other room, my mom heard me playing Feras.
Wow. So that was just a natural ability in you.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And so everybody was like,
How old
wait,
were you?
What is this? 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
5?
Yeah.
I was drooling on myself. So I was still in diapers at 5. That's amazing.
I still was working on
So you picked it up by ear.
Yeah.
For us, that's actually incredible at 5.
Yeah. And I tried to take piano lessons because my family was like, this is something that we should, really work on getting.
He's
you
a
to
star.
Sort of something.
We have to get him on Idol.
Yeah.
It was.
How do we get him on Ellen?
How do we get him on Ellen is crazy. Okay, it's a whole different thing.
And I basically started taking piano lessons, but my brain could not work within the construct of there's dots and lines on a paper. Because I could just do it. So I found myself faking it during my piano lessons. So they'd be like, twinkle, twinkle, little star. And then my piano teacher would play it once. And then she'd be like, okay, now go home and learn this. So I'd go home and I just already knew it.
Yeah.
And so then I'd go back and I'd be pretending I was, reading to music.
Wow.
And
you
then
played dumb to your piano teacher.
Yeah. And then she'd be like, you're not playing this because it was out of time,
right?
Whatever. Yeah. And she's like, I can't teach you. And I was just like, okay, that's great.
Wow.
Fast forward to a bit darker of a time. My parents got divorced, and it was my dad's first visitation to basically have me on the weekends, and my dad decided that he wanted to take me back to Jordan without my mom knowing.
Whoa, that's not where I thought this was going. That's crazy.
And
You've told me a little bit about this, but this is this is really intense to experience when you're that young.
It was really traumatic. And looking through it as an adult now, I realize that it was just my father's love and wanting to sort of put our family back together in some way. And people do things in traumatic times, and they don't think about it.
Irrational.
But my whole life I held this my dad is bad and whatever, and I haven't had a relationship with him because of that. But
how far did he get you
to Jordan?
You got all the way there.
Yeah.
So you kind of got kidnapped by your dad.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's crazy.
But on the way to the airport, we stopped at Walmart. And I got this little toy keyboard, one of this little Casio thing. And I remember when we got to Jordan, I was just I had been there before, so it wasn't that crazy. But
right.
I was also where's my mom? And nobody knew where I was. And it was it was a really gnarly thing. Wow. And when we got there, I just remember nights missing my mom. And so I grabbed this keyboard that I had, and then I started writing music because intuitively I just knew I have all of these emotions that I want to be able to channel. I don't know how to do it, and then I just started writing songs. And I remember my mom called one day.
That's really intense.
And I was like, "Mommy, I like wrote you this song," and it was just like that was like my first song when I was 5.
Oh my gosh!
And
I mean, we need some tissues.
Oh, I know Lauren's tearing up over there. I'm like, woo.
That is beautiful and so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Sorry, you're 5 at this.
Yeah, I was 5. Yeah,
Man,
took me
that's
out of school, everything. You know.
What an incentive to learn music and write music.
Yeah.
To
And what a
connect with
powerful
your
connection
mom.
you have with music. I'm sure from that. I mean, that sounds like
It's always been
saved your life in a sense.
Well, it's always been my savior. It was like for the longest time there was no separation between me and music. It was like the only thing that I knew. It was like the voice that, you know, I didn't have to express myself as a kid. So everything just came out in this sonic space. And so that really became sort of the genesis of how I write music, which is always from an emotional place. And I think that I feel very fortunate actually, because I think like sometimes as artists, sure, we can write cerebrally and we can just sort of do it in this sort of Swedish doctor math way. And there's something so special about that. But then there's also the other side of the coin where it's like music and art is born from trauma. It's born from needing to say something because there's no other way.
Yeah.
And the reason why what we do as creators is so special is because we are that voice for people that don't necessarily have the capability that we have to be able to channel that. So
Definitely. I would say most songwriters that I speak to, including myself, it's usually like early childhood trauma that takes you into creating this whole separate world that you can live in.
Yeah.
And it's through the music that you create and that you write.
Yeah.
Wow. When you were young, were you social or were you kind of isolated?
You know, I was like, I've always been sort of a grand juxtaposition, I think. Like there's been an element of, you know, the town that I grew up in, it was like a very like, I don't want to say like small-minded because I don't want to, you know, be rude.
This is Gillespie.
Easy on Gillespie.
Okay.
Well, real quick, in my head and your biography, you're still in Jordan. How do you get back to?
Oh, right. So my mom ended up actually working with the embassy and doing all of these sort of secret things behind the scenes. And she ended up basically going to Jordan once she found out that I was there.
Hell yeah, I'd be on every flight.
Yeah.
I would be like, my baby's in Jordan, I'm getting him.
This is the early 80s where like, you know, where females did not have the rights that they have now. So it's like how my mom was plotting this whole thing to basically steal me back is really like a testament to just like a mother's love.
She like unkidnapped you. That's crazy.
She unkidnapped me.
Whoa.
Wow, that's amazing.
So did she just show up at the door one day and you're like, okay.
She showed up. Well, basically she had been kind of working with my dad behind the scenes and basically being like, I want to put our family back together. Okay. You know, I want to make this work. And he was like, that's what he wanted, you know? So he was like, okay, come over. And my mom's parents were like, you're not going. The whole family was like, we've already lost our grandson. We're not going to lose our daughter. Like, you're not flying to the Middle East, you know, like we'll figure it out another way. But my mom was like, I'm going. And she showed up.
Sounds like a badass.
Yeah.
Give your mom a shout out. What's your mom's name?
Yeah, my mom, Gigi.
Gigi.
She's literally.
She's a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
She is.
She's amazing. She's really the one who like cultivated what I do. I mean, I remember when we finally got back, and we did because I'm here. She would sit down at the piano with me, and she would say, "Sing." And I'd be like, I can't sing. I don't know what you're talking about. And she'd be like, sing. Elton John can sing and play at the same time. You can do it. And my mom is like not musical.
Mama Jer, let's
She's like,
go.
you know, the greatest pianist, vocalist of all time. He can do it, so you can do it.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. I would want to be Elton John's mom for sure.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And she kind of, she sat there with me just like day in and day out, just like, and she has no musical background. I don't come from a musical family at all.
Okay,
like literally at all. Not one person in my family has anything to do with music.
Yeah, you taught yourself how to play piano at 5.
Yeah.
That's just wow.
It's just in you.
But so to answer your question, was I social? I was social in the sense that like I always wanted to be popular. But I also was like, this life here is not for me. I knew that whatever I needed to do to get out of Illinois and get to California, it was just like always my dream.
Do you remember, what age did you go, okay, you know what? I don't fit in here. I need to be there.
Well, 5 was a very pivotal year.
Wow, really?
So when I got back, I remember that same piano teacher, she was also the music teacher for the school, Mrs. Stewart. And she gave me a solo in the Christmas program or whatever. And I remember I sang a New Kids on the Block song. It was called I Still Believe in Santa Claus.
Let's go.
Yes.
We love a Christmas song. We love New Kids on the Block.
Yes.
Put them together.
And so Christmas has always been very special to me because of that. But I had a reindeer Rudolph nose and did the whole thing. And I remember when I heard that I like had the solo and like I was the star of the show. In art class, I took yellow construction paper, love yellow, and I cut out a star and I put my name on it and then I put it on my desk. And so everybody that walked by my desk had to know then that I was like the star.
Yes. Oh my God, the ultimate manifest story. You started early.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
God.
it was kind of like always going to happen in some way.
Yeah. You were going to will it to happen.
Yeah.
So how did you get out of Gillespie then? So you graduated high school there? Or?
I didn't.
Okay.
When I was like 17, my mom was like, we've got to just get you to California. And so
she's making a star.
Yeah.
She's ready to go.
Yeah. She was the original like Kris Jenner.
Wow.
And we packed up our house and we drove out to California, moved to Santa Barbara when I was 17.
Wow.
And so we just got up and moved.
Wow.
And my mom's a nurse, so she can find a job,
Got it.
pretty easily. And she just kind of threw caution to the wind and said, like, let's do this.
She sounds like a very bold, risk-taking lady. Do you feel like you got that from her? Just seeing her?
Yeah. My mom she comes from a big family. She has like 7 brothers and sisters. And, in this small town in Illinois, everybody kind of knew my family because of like what had happened to me. So growing up, I kind of had this thing where it was like I had this crazy music ability, which made me kind of, I don't want to say popular because that's such a weird word, but like I was like, I was like kind of a cool kid, but I was also like, people also made fun of me too because very early on, everybody seemed to know that I was gay before I did.
Wow.
And so I had a lot of weird, like I remember one kid like shot me.
I'm sorry.
Growing up.
Wait,
like
shot you?
Yeah, like I mean it was like a pellet gun, but like still like he shot
because
me.
he thought
Some Mississippi vibes right there.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe I am country, okay?
Hey, you should talk about that in your session. That would have given instant
shot.
cred.
I mean, seriously.
If I had the chance.
It was just a pellet gun too. It's amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't like a 410.
This is in high school. Somebody shot at you in high school?
In grade school, yeah. So
I thought you were gonna say I was 5 years old.
No,
I was
no.
not 5 again.
I was on my bike, and this kid always used to he used to throw me in the trash and like all kinds of crazy shit. And I knew my flair for drama at that point too, when I very theatrically fell off of my bike, bleeding, and crawled up to my doorstep, and I was like, "Mom, I've been shot." And it was just like,
yeah. I was gonna ask you. You have such a big personality. When you get comfortable in a room, I mean, your light just fills it, and it's. You bring out the best in people, and you're really just maximizing every moment in a session. And I wondered, how did you get like that? But I mean, you were going through a lot as a kid. I mean, there were opportunities to be feeling things. It doesn't sound like you ran away from them.
No. And when you have a lot of trauma in your life, I think you find ways to hide the pain, because that was the other thing too. It's like, not only was I kidnapped, but I was also Middle Eastern. I have a crazy name, Ferras Mahmoud Al-Kaizi, in a place where everybody was named like Joe and Cindy and, whatever. So I always felt different because I had a strange name. I was kidnapped. My mom was a single mother. We were very poor, literally she was doing everything she could to, you know, make ends meet. So
And you were getting teased for being gay.
and I was being
when you
teased,
weren't
yeah.
even out of the closet.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it sounds
Tough.
like a
You're not even out of the closet. Yeah.
so I had to figure out ways to kind of
Yeah.
I always wanted to stand out, but I never wanted to stand out too much. You know, which is like, again, it's that juxtaposition of I think my personality.
That kind of describes songwriters, doesn't it? It's like we kind of
Yeah.
do want to be in the mix,
Yeah.
but we don't want to be at the front of it.
Do you feel like that now as a songwriter? Do you take those, I guess, like internal dialogues from when you were a kid? Do you take them into how you show up today in writing sessions or, I don't know, within the industry?
I think that I've done so much work on myself, like just so much work. I did something called the Hoffman process, which is
Incredible.
which is an incredible thing that Katy actually gifted a bunch of our friends and really guided us into that. And it's like basically years of therapy in like a week. And so it's
like a camp you go to?
It's like a
or-
really intense retreat.
Okay.
There's moments of silence. But it's a lot of therapy, and I'd recommend it to
Yeah.
anybody who's like had any kind of trauma in their life.
Wow.
It's like spiritual rehab, I think, is
yeah.
the best way to,
Yeah.
right? Would you say that?
I
is
think
fair?
so. But I've had a lot of therapy. I did a lot of that, and I honestly I feel so comfortable in who I am finally for the first time. I think age plays a part in it. I think I've been very fortunate. I've traveled a lot. I've seen so many different things all across the world, and I've had so many rich experiences in my life that I
Yeah.
feel like all of that really has just informed me in just how I show up, because I'm drawing on trauma, but I'm also drawing on connection and,
Yeah.
you know,
So you're in California.
Santa Barbara.
You're in Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara.
Heck of a place to move to, by the way. That's a good spot.
It's a
Gorgeous.
great landing spot.
Yeah.
Couldn't wait to get out, and now I can't wait to make enough money so I can move back.
There you go. Your bio and from everything that I know about you is that you kind of came up with Katy Perry, correct?
So it's actually a little more complicated than that. So
Okay.
basically, I'm 17, and I ended up. I mean, this is a whole separate podcast, so I'll just bullet point it. But I ended up going to Florida because I, at the time, was obsessed with. I mean, I still am, but like at the time, I was obsessed with like Britney and Backstreet and NSYNC and all that kind of music was happening like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I think this was 2000. And I was like, I need to figure out like who is running the show there, because Orlando was just like the place to be.
It's popping.
Really?
Yeah. I basically got the number for one of the managers for Backstreet Boys, and I just kept calling literally every day for 6 months. I was like, "Hi, it's me again. Will you like I was like talking to the receptionist. She's like, "Ferras, we don't accept unsolicited material.
Wow.
Like, you have to just stop calling."
And you had a
You're like,
did you have a
"I'm
CD
the
or
son
something?
of
You're
I
like,
Yeah,
sent
listen.
them my CD.
Okay, gotcha.
I was like, just listen to it. Like, once you hear it,
Yeah.
you're gonna like want to work with me.
amazing.
And she was just like, no, whatever. Finally, like 6 months later, I was like, hey, it's me again. Like she was my friend at this point.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, if I play your CD for the manager, she was like, will you just promise that you'll stop calling because you're driving me crazy? And I was
Wow.
like, yep, I'll wait. And she was like,
Yeah.
no, I'll call you back. I was like, I'll wait. She was like, oh my God. So she like puts me on mute or whatever, on hold. Comes back and she's like 10 minutes later, she's like, okay, when can you be out here?
No.
And I was like,
way.
you could have just saved yourself 6 months of trauma.
Wow.
So-
you were honored.
Yeah, so I flew to Florida.
Man, if you could bottle that feeling up and just keep it with you the rest of your life, I'm sure that was like the best moment of your whole life.
It
doing
was
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm on my way. But I wasn't really.
Yeah,
on
but
my
getting
way.
shit done runs in your blood, clearly.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you get on a plane to Orlando.
On a plane to Orlando.
Yeah.
I'm 17. I get there, and Pink, actually, that's like where I met Pink. She was also managed by this management company for a time. And so I met her there, and we spent a lot of time together. I remember like playing piano for her, and she would like just lay back and she'd be like, play again, and you know, that was kind of like my first thing. And I just remember being like obsessed with her because she was making her first album, and I was like, this is a star. Like,
Well, this is before she was Pink.
this was before, like she was like coming out with "There You Go," which was her first single.
Amazing.
Right.
And I remember her kind of
Still
giving
kind of
me
like an
some
R&B artist, I think, at that point.
yeah. And she was like just giving me like tips and, you know, whatever. And I was kind of like just starting to see how the industry worked and that kind of a thing. Made some demos, whatever. That time didn't really lead to anything. I ended up leaving that because it just wasn't really, well, it's for the book, you know?
Sure.
I basically signed on with another manager. He was basically just trying to get me a deal. I was trying to get a record deal basically for like years.
Sure.
And everybody was like, you know, you're really talented, but it's not happening. You're talented, it's not happening. It was like I was just flying all over the place, doing all kinds of things. And finally, nothing really worked out there. And then I was like, I was back in LA. And because I had moved to LA. And at this point, I was just like living by myself, and I was like, I have to get out of LA. Like I was just going clubbing, and I was just like getting lost in the sauce.
What were your clubs in LA? Just real quick.
The Abbey.
Okay.
Before the Abbey was the Abbey, it was a coffee shop, and so I would have an apple martini and a piece of chocolate cake.
Oh,
and,
divine. Okay.
Yeah.
It's very chic.
I know, right? It sounds chicer than it was. It was
Everybody
more like
look out for Ferras at the Abbey. I guess he really left his mark.
it was more like us sitting in a car, like drinking vodka, and then going to the Abbey and trying to find somebody
Let's be
to
honest.
buy
Yeah.
us a martini.
That's amazing.
Right.
But I just got really sick of that because I was like, I need to move my career forward. This isn't happening. So I ended up applying to Berklee College of Music in Boston and lied on my application and said that I could read music. And
You're just such a hustler. I just love it so much.
sent a demo of me singing. They accepted me, went to Boston. But right before that, I had done a TV show, and it was called Performing As. Right before, this was sort of like while I was still in LA, and I was on Craigslist just trying to find anything that I could like do in the industry. Basically, there was a show called Performing As, and you would perform as your icon. And then
that's cool.
yeah, it was really
a great concept.
I was Elton John on it. They blacked out like a little thing in my teeth and like had all these custom looks.
Do you have a picture?
Somewhere, yeah.
We're gonna get our
find it,
hands.
yeah.
We'll get it, yeah. And the performance it's actually insane. It was
Really?
so cool, yeah.
Love that.
And
Amazing.
they put you with a vocal coach and whatever. And on set, the vocal coach came up to me and he was like, "What are you doing? Like, do you have a demo? Like, what's the you know?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I gave him this demo, and he said, "I have a client who has a label, and I think he'd really want to sign you, but I can't tell you who it is." And I was like, "Okay." So at this point, I was working at Aveda in Century City Mall.
I was going to ask
yeah.
you, what were you paying the bills with? Okay.
Yeah, and
Century City, not so bad.
Century City Aveda, and putting like makeup on women that would come in, and literally like I can't do that.
Yeah.
Even though I'm gay, like I'm the worst at that, and so they would come out like looking like clowns,
Even
just
though
like
I'm gay.
lipstick like over here, and I'd be like, "You look fabulous," you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just like behind the cash register, just like hating my life. And in walks Fred Durst and his wife with a baby carriage. And he walks in and I'm just like, oh, like there's a celebrity sighting, you know, something to break up the day. And he walks up to me and he was like, Ferras. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, hi, I'm Fred. And I got your demo from my vocal coach and I have a label on Interscope and I want to sign you.
Are you serious?
Go
I'm
ahead
sorry.
and
Is this real?
Where are we right now? We're in Aveda?
we're in Aveda
We're-
in Century City
The
Mall.
most dramatic way
Still-
this could have gone down, by
You're
the
trying
way.
to tell me Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst came
Yeah.
to Aveda
Yeah.
at Century
And brought
City
his wife and his baby.
Yeah.
mid shift,
Yeah.
He didn't want to call you. He said,
painting women's faces and said, 1 second, I'm here for you. I want to sign you.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
That
Yeah.
is not real
It's
life.
crazy.
And he tells me, he's basically like, you could just leave now because like you don't need to basically ever do this again. So I finished
That
my
is
shift.
Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's got to be up there in the best moments of your life. That sounds like, if that were me, that's up there, right? That's
yeah,
insane.
it was crazy.
Did you quit
I mean,
right away?
I did. I quit that day. And basically went home, and Fred literally then kind of became like a mentor, kind of champion of what I do. And we became friends, and I would go to his house and like play piano, and he would be like, that's a good song, or like this, whatever. And so then Fred kind of became almost like an acting manager in a way. And he was kind of like the first person to like really like, you know, that was like, we have to move this forward, you know? And so he took me all around town and like had me auditioning for everybody. I auditioned for like crazy people in the lobby of the chateau, like,
yes.
you know, that piano in the chateau.
Wow.
And I'm just
Yes.
like playing there, and then people are coming in or whatever.
Wait,
and,
that's amazing.
yeah.
A quick
That's
sidebar. At this
amazing.
point, are these original songs? That,
Yeah.
and are you writing these kind of by yourself, or do you have any kind of co-writing community yet?
Just myself.
Okay. Well,
Fred called me one day and he was like, we're going to go meet Jimmy Iovine and Ron Fair over at Interscope, and I want to sign you. We're going to do this thing. So I was like, you got to send me some money, Fred, because like I just quit my job. So
Right.
he gave me money and kind of was like supporting me for a minute. And that went on for like a year. You know, he was trying to kind of move the needle, but the people at Interscope weren't giving him the green light. And so, you know, even though I had this contract that was solid, I then went to not hearing from Fred for like, you know, a couple
Oh
weeks.
my
And
God,
you're
I
in the
would
middle
be-
of this like lawyer negotiation. And so, you know me,
You
if you
quit
don't
your
know
job.
me by now, let me tell you. So I am like pissed off and like freaking out because like the money's running out. I'm not hearing from Fred. I'm calling my lawyer. Nobody's responding. And so I end up basically getting in the car, going over to Fred's house, knock at his door, and I was like, hey. And he's like, hey. And I'm like, open the door. And so like I go in the door, and he just kind of has like a smile on his face. And I was like, my lawyer said that the deal isn't like happening anymore. Like, what's the deal? You know? And
Yeah.
he was like, no, they just didn't communicate. Like, I'm still working with you, but we're not going to go to Interscope. We're going to do something else. Like, it was a miscommunication, but just the fact that you came in here, like I was throwing a fit. Like
Right.
I threw my coat down, and I was like, you know, like, and
Really?
he's
A
just,
whole thing?
Yeah. And he was just like,
Oh my God, you're like going home aggressively washing your hair with a Veda at night. You're just like, fuck you, Fred Durst.
yeah. And he was just like, and he was like, wow, like you really have some guts,
Bite.
you know?
Yeah.
And so that just kind of like reawakened the fire. And then he was just like, all right, we are doing this. And so, so he kind of was trying to
I
do
love
that
that.
for a minute. And then again, nothing was happening. Nothing was biting. I remember, you know, he took me to the studio to meet Linda Perry, who's one of my ultimate like fucking icon people.
Yes.
And I wanted her to produce my record. It was like a whole thing. And then just kind of crickets, you know? And then I was like, fuck. So that's when I went to Berkeley. So at this point, I was just like, I'm going to school. I'm in school,
Wow.
failing miserably, not going to class, drinking wine in the practice halls,
Are you
writing
feeling
songs.
defeated?
Defeated, just like, what am I going to do with my life?
Okay.
Like, I can't read music. How am I going to study film scoring? Like, you know, like it was just like
Yeah.
the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And so I was there for like a year and a half. And then out of the blue, very close to spring break, my phone rings and it's Fred Durst. And he's like, I need you to come out to LA. And I was like, okay. So I get on a plane, fly to LA, and he sets up a meeting with Jason Flom, who at the time was the president of Virgin Records. At the Beverly Hills Hotel, I played the piano, 2 songs.
All the hotels.
And all the hotels.
All the hotels.
And Jason looks over and he's like, where do I sign? And I was like, that easy?
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen?
Wow.
And so I fly to New York. Basically, I quit school.
I was
like,
going to say,
goodbye.
did you quit school like you quit Aveda?
I don't
'Cause
even think
love-
I went back to Boston.
Period.
I think I just left my stuff like in the dorm.
your stuff is still in the dorm. I've heard.
It's just somewhere in the
Yeah.
archives in the basement. Because I had performed those same songs for literally so many different record execs. And it was like, you're too gay, you're this, you're that, da, 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 da. Like there was just like all of this, you know. And then just one person. I mean, that's the difference between the music industry then and the music industry now. Like now, as an artist, you don't need a gatekeeper to basically
Right.
say, oh, you're talented, we're going to do this.
Plucked out of
you just
obscurity.
can just put your shit out
Right.
and then let the people decide,
Right.
right? It's a very different time.
Right.
But at that time, we didn't have social media in this way. So,
Totally.
you know, or kind of at all.
Right.
So, I'm
Yeah.
kidding myself. So I needed that. We needed that to basically move things forward. So I signed to that as an artist.
So you're in New York. Do you go to live in New York then, or
No, I'm just spending a lot of time there because that's where
Okay.
the label headquarters
Right.
were. And then got an A&R guy, this fantastic human, Chris Anacute, and started making an album with The Matrix. And
wow.
so it was really amazing.
tell everybody who the Matrix is? Just
The
in case,
Matrix,
yeah.
it was a production team with this wonderful writer, Lauren Christie, and Scott and Graham, who Lauren was married to at the time, and they were just killing it.
This was
at
at
the time.
probably the height of their powers.
It was, yeah. Like,
Also, writing teams were like a thing.
It was a
It
thing.
was really hot to be a part of a
by the way, I
writing squad.
want to be a part of one. Like, it's funny being on the other end of it now because I'm like, wait, I need to like start a Matrix.
like a Matrix.
And they and correct me if I'm wrong. They did like the was it Avril Lavigne they did.
Avril
And
Lavigne,
that was one of their
Jason
big ones. I remember.
Mraz, Korn, Britney Spears. Like,
Right.
just it was like at the time it was just like the biggest production.
Just a dream come true to get
Yeah.
to work with them. I'm sure.
And so I instantly hit it off with them, and they were like, "Let's make this album." And ended up releasing this song, "Hollywood's Not America," which was my single in 2008, and it was the exit song for American Idol.
I remember
and they,
that,
like, got
yeah.
voted off or whatever. And so that kind of happened, and then but during that time, two things happened. So one, I released that song, and then the label shifted players. So basically, Virgin and Capitol merged, and all of a sudden, my team was no longer my team, and these new people came in from the UK.
Scary.
And like so many artists,
Right.
it's almost like more common than not.
It is.
I was dropped from my record contract, even though I had a song on the radio that was working.
Wow.
There's nothing that you can do, you know. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like all of a sudden, everybody, like, you walk into the building and everybody's like, Ferras, like, whatever, and then it's all of a sudden, we don't want you anymore. Goodbye.
Wow.
And then to top it off,
Yeah,
I was
fuck.
living in Hollywood in a basically crack apartment, and I'm looking outside of my window, and what do I see from the window of my apartment? The Capitol building, just staring at me as
Yeah.
as a giant needle in the sky, reminding me that I am not worthy once again.
Wow.
Damn, dude.
But so while that's happening, basically, I'm thinking, holy shit, I got to get a job. Like, it's 2009 now, and I'm like, I don't have any money. Can I go work at Starbucks? Like, are people going to come in and be like, hey, I know your song. Can you make me a latte?
Right.
Like, I don't know. There's no shame in that. We all have to fucking work. We all have to get paid. But
Yeah.
I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I just want to make music. And what do I do? So all of that is happening. And I ended up meeting a fan of mine from the East Coast. And I met her because she had asked me to, through my management, whatever, she wanted me to perform at her birthday party. So I fly to Philly and meet my friend Maria, who's a good friend of mine to this day.
Wow.
And she was like, you're amazing. I love you. I am going to strike a deal with you. Basically, you play 6 events for me, and I'm going to help you out, you know, and kind of be a bit of like a benefactor, if you will, and help you kind of get on your feet and get moving.
And
And
that's
so-
almost how they did deals in like the 1800s, you know? Like,
yeah, like
But it's
painting.
these little, it's these little
Yeah.
guardian angels that
Yeah.
we find
Keep
that
going.
are just waiting for us
Along
to
the
just
way.
assist. It's really beautiful.
It
I
is.
feel like we all have
Yes.
some Marias in our life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And so because she was able to help me through that difficult time financially, I was able to then start writing. I continue to try to be an artist, and that's another little section. But you asked me originally
Katy,
about
yeah.
Katy. And so at the same time, this girl from Santa Barbara who had, I think, been trying to make it in the music business for a minute and also had several deals fall through and whatever, ended up being signed by the same people that I was signed with. So Chris Anacute and Jason and them. And so one day I get a call from Chris, and he said, I need you to meet, and this was before I got dropped. This
Okay.
was like while I'm still making the album. It
Sure.
was like, I need you to meet this girl. We just signed Katy Perry, and I think you guys are just gonna hit it off. Like, she's gonna be a star. Like, you should just get to know her.
So you guys are just label mates.
Label mates.
Like fresh new talent on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, cool. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. So I remember she came over to my apartment, and I think we were supposed to have a writing session, but we ended up just getting drunk.
This crack apartment you speak of. That's where.
This was a nicer apartment because I had signed my deal.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a new stage. Got it.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
I was
that's
in a little
amazing.
bit better of an apartment. I remember she was on her way to my house, and I was a little nervous. I don't know why, but I was just like a little nervous. And
Ooh.
and she was on her way over, and I was listening to the radio. I think I was going to get snacks or something at like Trader Joe's, like, setting up a spread, and whatever, waiting for Katy Perry to come over. But she wasn't Katy Perry yet. It was just Katy. And I heard on the radio on Kiss 102.7 or whatever it is, Madonna was on there talking about this girl Katy Perry, and that she was like, yeah, I think she's like a great new talent, and I love her song "You're So Gay" and blah blah blah. And I literally was like, I'm dying right now because Madonna's like my favorite fucking thing in the whole wide world. Like,
Yeah.
I am a Madonna, like,
Wow.
beyond people even know what a stan is.
Wow.
I am that. I used to pray to Madonna.
Oh.
Ultimate
Like, when I was
cosign.
8 years old in Illinois, I had pictures of Madonna on my walls next to the gun rack that my mom's boyfriend bought me, trying to like make me a straight boy. But so Katy Perry comes over, and we're supposed to have a writing session, and basically we don't write anything. We just get drunk, and I wake up the next morning, she's in my bed, and I'm like, not like that. And I was like, did we even write anything last night? And she was like, no, like da da da. And we were just best friends from
Wow.
like that point on. And she was like a really cool like person. Like, we were hanging out back then with like Kesha, and before Kesha was Kesha, and like all these parties, and going to hide, and just like getting bottles and leaving before like anybody paid, and just like sneaking in the back door of all these places. Like, it was just like this whole new exciting life. And
That's when Hollywood was kind of popping.
That's when
too.
Hollywood was popping.
When like people actually went out to clubs, and you never got an opportunity to go to Hyde, but it was. I mean, it was like a gateway to LA, basically.
It was like the place to be.
The
Like,
place.
you walk in, there's like Mary Kate and Ashley like in the corner like this, and then you've got like Paris Hilton and like Lindsay and like all these
Lindsay,
people,
yep.
and
Yep.
But it was like the golden age of paparazzi and Robertson
And you were in it.
Boulevard, and I was in it. So basically Katie sort of welcomed me into her wild world of like going out and just like showing up at premieres and all just crazy shit, like Hollywood Rugrat kind of people.
Amazing.
And at that time, I'm basically like working to make ends meet. She's blowing up. I was very fortunate in having some cuts came out during that time, so I got some calls to write for some artists. So Adam Lambert, who's a really good friend of mine, he called me. He was on Idol like around that time, and he was like, I want you to write. Cause he didn't win, I don't think, but I think he came like
Did he
second
not? That's wild.
or something, or maybe he did, I don't remember, but he was making an album, basically got a record deal and made an album. And I knew Adam from like the clubs and stuff, and so he calls me, wrote a song together for his record, and I think that was like one of my first cuts.
Wow.
And then I got a call from Lauren Christie from The Matrix, and she said, hey, we want to write for Adam Lambert. Desmond Child, who is literally also such an icon. Desmond wrote
Of course.
Living on a Prayer.
You Give Love a Bad Name, I think.
Yeah, like all that like
Yeah.
early like Bon Jovi, like
I heard this recently that he was the first producer to have a song released that was made completely in Pro Tools.
really.
Yeah, I'd have to fact check what song that is, but I
Yeah.
heard that recently. Yeah, it was the first fully digital song
Oh, that's
that was ever
interesting.
released. There you go.
Yeah, Desmond's wild.
Yeah.
And
I think he's in Nashville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he's amazing. And
Yeah, he
I
is
was
in
so
Nashville.
nervous because there were two people that I had always thought of when I would look in like CDs and stuff as a kid. And it was Desmond Child, Diane Warren,
Right.
Walter Afanasieff or whatever. I can't really pronounce it, but he did all the Mariah Carey stuff. And,
Yep.
And so these are like three people. So Desmond, I'm having a session with Desmond, and I'm like pulling up to Lauren's house, like totally nervous. Desmond and I hit it off. We wrote some really great songs with Lauren that day. And then I went back to my Hollywood cracking in. And I'm in there and I get a call, and it's basically Desmond on the phone with Ricky Martin. And Desmond's like, I'm in Miami with Ricky Martin. Get on the phone. And I'm like on FaceTime, and I'm like, hi, and they're like, when can you get here? And I was like, okay.
These very like immediate, fast moments for you were like,
Yeah.
we need you now.
Does it sound like, because of course we're doing just a recap, it sounds like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
But in the moment, does it feel like that? Or is
Oh my God, this is like what you don't see, because I'm just doing the highlights.
Exactly.
But it's like it'll be like a year of nothing.
Right.
And it'll like, I'm literally like at my fucking wit's end. I'm going to like retire and move to like, I don't know.
100%. That's what I always like to
somewhere.
remind people of, because, when you listen to, podcasts and people
Yeah.
are on and just talk about the highlights, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, but there's also a lot of time in between these highlights.
And it's a lot of stops and starts. It's
Right.
a lot of calling, and it's like, is this happening? Is this not happening? Da, 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 da. But these moments that I'm highlighting they do feel like that, because they kind of happen at a time when you have nothing.
Right.
And you're just like, I'm at this point when Desmond's calling me with Ricky Martin, I'm like thinking I need to get a job.
Right.
Like nobody's taking any of my calls. I don't
Right.
have a publishing deal. I don't have a record deal.
Right.
I'm like, I have nothing.
Yeah.
And so so I get that, and then I fly to Miami. Ended up writing like 6 songs on Ricky's album at the time. And
Does that make you go, you know what, maybe there's more to this songwriting thing versus the artist aspect? Or are you still in your head going, this is just kind of sustaining me until I can get back to being an artist full time? What's your headspace on that?
For me, it was like, I always wanted to have 2 career paths. I wanted to be like Elton John as an artist, and then I wanted to be Diane Warren or Desmond Child.
Yeah.
Because I used to like pull out magazines when I was like 17, and just like Vogue magazine or like something that my mom was reading, and I would just like see somebody there, and then I would start writing music, or I would like be a fan of somebody. Like I remember really loving Taylor Dayne, Tell It to My Heart, and then I like got on my piano and I was like, what would it be like if I wrote a song for Taylor Dayne? And I didn't even understand what songwriting was in that way, because I was just coming from the space of, I'm an artist, I just want to be singing. But I was like doing this naturally in my own time, because I it just fell on me,
Well, that was one of my questions for you, is you are such a performer through and through.
Yeah.
Even when you're writing in the room. I mean, it's very performative. And you being on Hitmakers, it was funny watching you back, because the Ferras that I know and that I've written with so many times is on the piano, it's a very immersive experience for everybody in the room. You are right here with the producer. Like, what if we do this? What if we do that?
Yeah.
You're very much a producer. How does your artistry play into you being a writer? How does that set you aside from any other writer in the room, do you think?
Well, I think because like as an artist, I know I'm looking at everything from like a 360 way. So I'm thinking of like the final production. I'm thinking of like, how does this look on stage? Like even so much as like, what are branding opportunities that can follow this? Like what's the best way that this can happen? So I'm thinking of like everything when I'm writing a song. So a lot of times like, I'll work with a young artist and they'll come in, and sometimes they know exactly what they want, and that's super cool. And I can just like help to sort of edit that and refine it and help them even go deeper and discover. But I think like as an artist, I know I have the knowledge from the other side of like, it goes beyond just sort of like trying to write a song. I mean, everything comes down to like the song. So however you arrive at getting the best song, everybody has a different process. But as an artist, I feel like I've just been through the fucking ringer. Like I just kind of like, I'm like, how can we take this moment of connection, this sonic spark, and what does this look like when it sort of moves out into
Definitely.
the world?
I love that.
Like,
It's almost, I think you nailed it when you said it's almost like a marketing mind a little bit. I think great songwriters know how to create a moment in time where it's the right artist, right song, right time. And I always say, like, writers, our job is to find the intersection between what the writer or what the artist wants to say and what the world wants to hear from them.
Yeah.
And how do we cultivate this moment where, like, it makes sense to everybody and the artist is fulfilled? And I think having an artist perspective to find that moment, it must make the route a lot easier to get there because you are already thinking like that as an artist.
Yeah. And so many times, like, what we do is just guesswork. You know, like
Yeah.
if we're in a pitch session, which is, you know, writing a song without the artist in the room, but writing a song for an artist. For those of you who are not writers listening to this, you know, there's two ways of doing it. You sit down with the artist and you write a song, or you're guessing what an artist might want to say.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's just two different ways. And
Well, I feel like that's kind of a cool segue to Hitmakers because watching Hitmakers in your episodes in Nashville, it was a different take on what you do. I mean, it was a limited take. We didn't get a chance to really see you, and we only had you for 2 episodes too.
Yeah.
Let's circle back to, like, how did you first get on Hitmakers? What was that call like, or how did you find out about the show? I'm curious how you wound up there.
Well, I'm friends with a lot of the cast.
Okay.
And so I just kind of heard about it through the grapevine. And I think I got a call from Britt, I think it was.
Britt Mason. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who's one of the producers on the show.
Yep.
And she asked me if I'd, be interested in taking part in something like this. And I thought about it. And, it's interesting because I am very open. I'm a very open person, right?
You are.
But I'm also guarded. It's like I'm open.
You've been through a lot to give you that.
Yeah.
You're not just going to dive into anything, because I feel like with your life experience, you've learned.
You also have a very creative mind. I think you you go to all the rooms in the house and you're like, what about this? What about this? What about that?
Yeah. I'm happy to just completely let it all. I'm happy to bare my soul when I'm in control, right? But the moment that I feel like there's something else that's taking away my control, I go into a whole other fight or flight kind of personality.
Show up at Fred Durst's house and say,
Yeah, exactly.
"Give me the fuck in."
Throw the coat down.
Yeah. So with this show, I was just like, this is an opportunity for me to step outside of my comfort zone a little bit, because when you have, how many cameras were there? I mean,
Ended up being 6 episodes of 36 minutes each or something like that.
Something like that.
It's pretty
but
wild.
It's thousands of hours of
But yeah.
footage.
it's a definitely take you out of your comfort zone kind of experiment. And so for me, who, has always been somebody that wants to control the narrative a little bit, it was an exercise for me to step outside of that. The idea that, like, you have to be so protective about stuff doesn't exist anymore. TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and like everything, it's like taken away the mystery, and people don't really have any interest in mystery anymore. I think if you are mysterious at this day and age, you kind of almost become aloof or strange, because everything is just so rapid. Like, we want to know where you are at all times and everything. And if we can't have access to you, we're on to the next, right? So this has been an experiment for me of separating myself from the idea that there's something I have to protect, because
Wow.
I think that the songwriting process is extremely sacred.
Yeah.
And it's always a sacred space for me. And it is always a sacred communion with something bigger and greater than what's even within me. But somehow as creators, we're able to access that and draw it down and bring it into the space that we're in. So I think it's a very sacred thing, but also it is mysterious. And so the idea of being able to somehow highlight that process was interesting to me.
I thought you were such a breath of fresh air on the show. I think viewers are going to feel like that too.
Yeah.
When you come on, it changes the dynamic in a way. And I think you brought something that really wasn't on the show before that. You were almost, to me, when I was watching it, I was like, man, I think this would be how a lot of people would just react if they were there. I feel like you said a lot of things that people probably were thinking at home in a way.
The time that you came in was just an interesting time because the show, season 1, first 2 episodes, we are all trying to catch our footing, even production. This is the first show really ever been made about
Nobody
songwriters.
knows how to do it. Nobody knows what we're
We are
doing.
behind the scenes people. Like, we were all kind of like catching our footing, and it felt a little chaotic, magical in moments because of just what we do, and and we're getting used to these personalities. And then you come in and you kind of read the room.
Yeah, I mean, I again, as you guys have now a little bit more of a window into how I operate as a human being with wanting to control everything. it was, I had basically asked production, you know, beforehand, like, what am I getting into? Like, tell me everything. I need bullet points. I want, like, this is where you're walking into. This is what you do. Like, and then I can sort of relax and do and be who and what I need to do and say and whatever, you know? But nobody would tell me anything. So when I got there, I definitely was shell-shocked. I mean, it was just very like, what's going on? And, you know, and I've never done what ended up becoming a reality show. I've never done that before, you know? So it was exciting and interesting and cool, but it was also like, I remember walking in the kitchen the first morning, which they didn't show any of that, but it was like when you guys got to sort of see me and Jay Hart like walk in, and I like walk in and I go to talk to, I forgot who it was, somebody that's like one of my friends or that I kind of socially know. And normally it'd be like how I'm talking to you guys right now. But there would be a camera on and be like, hey, how are you? And somebody'd be like, hey, how are you? Like, what's going on? Like, what did you have for breakfast today? And, and I was just like, like, who are you? You're like,
who was it? Was it
body
Ben?
snatchers? Like, what am I dealing with? So it was like there's like an element of like, oh, the cameras are on, and now I'm going to affirm a personality that is like indicative of this like being, you know, that I think I'm going to be for this thing.
And it's also season 1, so we're making the show.
Yeah.
We have nothing to compare it against.
Yeah.
So it's like we don't know when the train's off the tracks. We're making the tracks.
Yeah. And you guys had sort of been making the tracks in the Bahamas. So when I got dropped in for Nashville, I was just kind of like, I didn't have the context of everything. So it was kind of like I had to just immediately try to grab my footing and just kind of figure out what was going on. And it was very strange.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I will say, I watched the show with some of my friends in Nashville, half normies, non-music people, and
Muggles,
half
as we
people.
call them.
Yeah, and
What
half
is it?
people in
Muggles.
half people in music, and they all loved you. They felt you were real, hilarious, but endearing too, and also a professional. Like, you had your opinion and you stood behind it, and it felt like you also knew what you were talking about.
I'd like to highlight this too. I completely agree. And one thing to note is that you got thrown into country sessions. I do think like country is a very specific. Now, Shabuzi is not a traditional country artist, but still, I think we were all thinking of these as more or less country sessions. And did that make it even more difficult for you, you know, to jump into a genre that you're not, you know, completely familiar with maybe?
You know, from the standpoint of like, one reason why I have such deep respect for country music is because there is such an intense focus on lyric and storytelling and, you know, saying something conversational, but also in like a poetic way sometimes, but like, so it feels relatable, but it's also just done in such a wonderful way. So I have a deep respect for it. But as you just pointed out, there's certain words and there's certain verbiage and lingo and things that are like very, you have to just live it to know it. And so also like not every country song has those types of things in it. Like Need You Tonight, you know what I mean? Like
100%.
there's other songs.
There's
so it's
crossover
like,
country.
Yeah.
And then there's, you know, in the weeds country, I would say those lyrics that you got thrown in your first song were like, that's not crossover country, I would say. That was like some pretty targeted lyrics. Yeah. How did that make you feel? Did it kind of throw you off balance right off from the start? I felt like I would have been a little off balance if I had been thrown into a session like that.
I wasn't off balance because of it being country or because of like the words or whatever. Like Steven was just kind of like running the show. And a lot of times as creators, you guys know, when we're in a room and somebody's feeling it and somebody's got like an idea, you don't always have to be the person who's coming up with the shit.
Right.
Like you can just be the person who sits back and is like holding space for them and helping to, you know,
100%.
cultivate that and bring it, you know, and edit and whatever. So I wasn't like, oh my God, he just said 37s on my feet. Like I'm out of bounds here. Like I've written like crazy goth music. I've written country music. I've written like hardcore metal. I've written contemporary Christian. Like we're versatile in what we do. You know? So it wasn't so much that. It was more so of me feeling a little out of bounds because I was not given the opportunity because of the time constraints.
Right.
I wasn't given the opportunity to really highlight my process as a writer. It felt
Sure.
like a very high intensity, high stakes, like, there's so much going on that have nothing to do with writing a song. So my brain is scanning, like, how am I going to how do I look on camera?
Right.
Sure.
Am I communicating correctly? Like, what do I say? Like, I was like self-editing a little bit too.
How could you not? How could you
Yeah.
not? This has been awesome. I feel like we've gotten to know you in ways. I've known you for 10 years, and I feel like I know you better now. So this is, I don't know. I feel
100%.
very fulfilled after talking to you. You're such an amazing, interesting, talented, dynamic person. And there's
thank
so
you.
many sides of you. And I wish we would have had you on the show.
We could
more.
go another hour. We can make this a Joe Rogan type thing. Go 3
100%.
hours.
Look, I'm down. Just put a microphone in front of my face and
Yes.
go to town.
Okay, so we have like a little, a little game.
So we're going to do a blind ranking game. I'm going to name 5 of your songs, and you have to rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 1 being the highest, 5 being the lowest, okay? So first up, we have Jonas Brothers' current single, Love Me to Heaven.
1.
Oh, wow.
Straight to the top.
Straight to the top.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so just quickly.
Yeah.
That song is the first song that was ever kind of created as a pitch song for the artist. And then it like went to the artist.
And it went. That's
I've,
so rare.
I've never had that.
Wow.
Like, because usually I'll be like, I'm writing for so-and-so today. And then it'll be like somebody totally
Right.
different than that. But we literally sat down. We're like, we're writing for Jonas Brothers today. And
Fire.
then that song became
That's amazing.
that,
Sniper.
Shout out Josh Murdy.
Josh Murdy.
Oh, that's
Listen,
a,
right?
yeah.
Yep.
We love Josh Murdy.
Next, I'm
Transfer,
going to take a
like it.
little left turn here. Angels in the Snow.
Oh my God.
By who? Tell the people.
Angels in the Snow by Cher.
Yeah. A Christmas song, if you will.
Christmas song.
Returning to your
Returning to your
roots.
Christmas
Yeah,
roots, now
yeah,
that
yeah.
we know about this, I feel like it means a little more.
Let's just say 2.
Oh, we are running out of room.
Oh my gosh.
Next, we're going to go Genesis.
Dua Lipa. We'll say 5.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the, real quick, give us what's the story in that song?
That song was.
Why is it 5?
It's 5 because I wasn't in the room to finish it being put together.
Okay.
Fair.
So I like heard it once it was done.
Right.
Kind of thing. And then I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
But I feel kind of like.
Less of a
Detached.
connection to it.
Well, no, I feel a connection to it, but it's just like maybe not as much as some of the other ones.
Got it.
Okay. And Smile.
Katy Perry, 4.
Okay.
So we got 3, right?
Which would leave.
Bon Appetit.
Hey, I think I nailed it.
Yeah, you did
Number
it.
3, Bon Appetit. Before we go, I had one more question that I wanted to get to ask you earlier in your story. And that is the question of supporting your friends. This industry, you always come up with a crew, right? And people move at different paces. Some people move faster than others. And I find that a lot of people struggle to be, I would say, good friends or just with the competitive nature of the industry. And so when you said that you met Katy and y'all were contemporaries, when you met, you're on the same label, I would say in a similar place in life. And then she goes on this rocket ship. Can you talk just real quick about, how to be a supportive friend, when you're in that position?
I think because Katy has always been so incredibly generous and loving and inclusive and just such a wonderful human being that being in her presence and being part of her world, you feel really, without being like a cheese ball, you do feel euphoric. She has a way of making everybody feel incredibly special and loved.
seen, it sounds
and
like.
seen and celebrated. And she was always such a big supporter of what I do. Even as she was on her ascent and I was dropped, like I still traveled the world with her everywhere.
Yeah, there was no distance.
There was no distance. I felt like it was sort of like happening to me also.
Wow.
Because
That's
it was just
awesome.
like I'm there in the passenger seat, like with her in the same vehicle. And it was so massive. It was so mind blowing. It was just something that I felt so incredibly special and grateful to just be part of something like that. There's just like, there's no recreating that time. Even though I was working on my own shit, I was never like, oh, I'm gonna like have Katy like do something for me.
Sure.
Like, trust me, it like crossed my mind. I'd be in the studio and I was like, ooh, like how should I send this one to her, whatever. But but what actually ended up happening really quickly, because I know we're almost out of time, but you know, I was signed to an indie label in Florida, like in this sort of like in 2014 was it or something. And I'd never sent Katy anything. I never said anything. And I made an album that I was really proud of, and with this indie label. And so I literally texted it to Katy, and I was just like, hey, babe, like, any chance you might want to like jump on one of these songs, you know? And she didn't respond for like a week. And I was like, oof, like, did I just, like, I shouldn't have.
It's a long week.
Yeah, like that was a long week. And then she texted me and she's like, I'm not going to feature on, you know, these songs. They're great, but rather I want to buy you out of your contract and I want to sign you to a label that I'm going to start just for you. And I want you to be my first artist.
Wow.
It's all about like how you do it. And the music was good. And, you know, and like I said, she had always like been sort of very supportive and a fan.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys had a real friendship. You weren't playing the game, you know?
All right, our last game we have.
This is quick. It's fun. We just have like a one-word adjective.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah, you can stay forever. Fucking stay. That's
Yeah, we're going to name a person on the show. You just give us a one word. Whatever pops into your head.
Tommy Brown.
Master of ceremonies.
Love that.
J Hart.
Sister.
Harv.
Sweet.
Jenna.
Please say something.
Multifaceted.
Steven.
Talented.
Trey.
My baby.
7.
Future icon.
Whitney.
My girl.
Bitch. Blue.
Heart.
Chi.
Spirit.
Ben.
Who has been?
That's a perfect way to end this. But we're so glad that you came. I was so amazing getting to hear more about your story. I can't wait to hear even more and to see what you're going to do ahead, adding on to that story. And yeah, thanks for being with us.
We love you.
Thank you, guys.